welcome to another episode of Happy Hour. Cheers, Justin.
Cheers.
I noticed we both have coffee, so
recording this one a little early this time around.
Yeah, even early for the West Coast.
That's right.
Cheers to your coffee and my coffee.
One day we need
Coffee
to do
just
these
hits
like
in the morning.
together. Yes, it does. One day we need to do these together, like in real life,
where we can actually clink.
That would be nice.
That would be ideal. But, you know, we're in the digital age and we're leading the way by having a business partnership from the East to West coasts. So clients out there, that's just really great for you because we serve you from Eastern time zone to Pacific time zone. So there's always an eyeball on your stuff because also Justin doesn't sleep. I don't know if you know.
The word on the street is I don't sleep very much, and it is true. So
that
I like to nap. I like to nap from 10 till 2 in the morning.
Yeah. 10 till 2 p.m., 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. Oh, yes, you did tell me. Yes. I remember I went to bed late one night on the West Coast and I was like thinking in my head, I bet Justin's awake right now. I think you were.
I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Anyways.
Well, happy summer.
Yes.
It is the start of summer and we're kicking off the podcast talking about why you shouldn't take a summer break from marketing. So we often see a lot of churches, faith-based nonprofits, some businesses looking at their budget. It's the end of some people's fiscal year and the start of a new one for some. And so they're looking at what they want to trim and they just think, oh, marketing. Let's trim that off.
Why not? Let's just knock that right off the top.
I mean, we obviously have a very strong opinion about this as marketers, but can you tell us, Justin, why this is a bad idea?
I mean, common sense just says it's a bad idea no matter what.
Well, besides the obvious.
So like as we've been talking about this, and like it's no surprise that we know the church and the faith-based nonprofit space really, really well. We're equally learning the for-profit space. But one of the things I started thinking through is traditionally I start seeing in the nonprofit space, both faith connected or not faith connected, they tend to scale back their marketing during the summertime. And I remember the nonprofits I work for, bad move.
Rookie move.
Bush League. Like I remember the nonprofits that I work for did as well. There was one that did not, and that was because their fiscal year starts and ends in the middle of the year. So that was just a horrible thing for them to have thought through. But anyways, as I started doing research over the last couple of weeks about this, one of the things I realized is that while people are busy in the summertime because your kids aren't in school or whatever, they're bent towards looking for something to be a part of that adds value to their life, which is traditionally where the nonprofit space sits. And so really, in my opinion, you shouldn't be sloping off during the summertime. You should maybe double down on telling the benefits of what your nonprofit does, or really, and if your for-profit does it as well, because everybody's on holiday or everybody's on vacation, or we've moved to summer hours, which that'll be another podcast in the future about summer hours and what I think about those. I'm a big fan.
You don't have to work the summer unless your kids work or doing vacation Bible school.
Well, then we'll talk about that at that point. So, but anyways,
every pastor goes on sabbatical in the summer. And don't think we don't notice as attenders on the weekend that you have not the B team, but the C team preaching on the weekends.
That's correct.
So that does not encourage us to not also take the summer off from church. Anyway,
that's right.
We went
another
there.
Story for another day. So anyways, I mean, I think let's talk about in detail, like why it's such a bad idea to take really any season off from your marketing efforts, but maybe even more specifically, why it's a bad idea to take summer off.
Yeah.
And I know you've been reading and doing some research yourself, and what is that showing you?
Yeah, so I have already read through Donald Miller's Business Made Simple, and I was working on a project the other day, and I was like, oh, I think Donald Miller says something brilliant. I mean, he says a lot of brilliant things, but I was like, I think he says something brilliant about why you shouldn't cut your marketing team, and companies often cut the marketing first. Yep. And so Donald Miller associates businesses to a jet plane. So you have your plane, which he says the main body of your plane is the overhead.
Yep.
2 jet engines that propel and lift the entire plane, which is your business, are sales and marketing. And what happens if you cut a jet engine? We've all seen Top Gun. It's been top of the movies lately, top of the charts. Things can go very wrong, aka like first movie Goose died. Sorry if you hadn't seen it. Spoiler alert. One of the engines cut and they just went spinning and crashed and had to eject from that plane. And unfortunately, like that's a lot of businesses. They cut one of the jet engines and then it's a downward spiral to a crash. And for some, it's a slow crash. For others, it's a much quicker crash. So you need marketing to funnel sales, and you need sales to push back into marketing. They work together. They both need to be firing at all cylinders at the same time. Then the wings of the plane are services and products. We're not cutting those because, you know, that's what we sell and what we do.
Supposedly.
Absolutely. But that's not what's fueling the plane, which is interesting.
That's correct.
It's your sales and your marketing. And then the back of the plane, the tail of it is your capital and cash flow. And you have to consider all of that along with your overhead. So check it out. It's in his book, Business Made Simple. If you need a refresher on all of that, because my overview was very brief and he goes into more detail. But I just always, now I get that mental picture when I hear of clients cutting their marketing. I'm like, oh, you're cutting off a jet engine. This is not going to turn out well for you. Yet you still expect sales to propel the whole plane by itself. And it's just impossible. And so, that is what I was reading. And I hope you now also get that visual when you hear of churches, nonprofits, businesses thinking to do that. And gosh, it's just, we're here to help you reach your bottom line and to lift your business and to help it succeed. And when you're not investing very much in that marketing budget, you can't expect that much of a return. And unfortunately, a lot of clients do. They expect crazy, like no investment works that way. Not even Bitcoin, right? You're the Bitcoin king.
Definitely does not.
So it takes, I remember the first time I invested in Bitcoin, somebody told me at least put 100 down. And to me, I was like, what about 40? They're like, you're not going to see anything. I was like, okay. So when my investment got down to like $45, I was like, time to go.
And we're out. That's awesome. Well, I mean, I think the whole conversation is so timely, no matter when people are listening or watching this, because, you know, in today in real time, like there's a lot of conversation going on about recession. And is a recession about to happen? Is it coming? And you know, it's all very speculative. I, as a business owner, do think there's a correction coming. And so, you know, part of what people who are listening to this should be considering is when, if it does end up happening, like marketing and sales are not what you need to start lopping off at the first like wave of fear. Like, in if anything, you should double down on that and maybe give more power to the marketing and the sales engine. So, you know, I haven't read in detail the analogy or work through all his stuff with the analogy, but I think for you and I think we would agree, you know, hearing you walk us through, I think I agree with all that. I think for me, and if Donald has a different wording or a different situation to it, I'm not arguing with him, just thinking about it a little differently. But I think for you and I, the fuel that is going into those jet engines that make them work is trust. So, I mean, your sales are only going to get you as fast as the trust that is being driven. And
absolutely,
you and I mean, we have had someone tell me the other day, he's a designer in the church community. He reached out. He's like, man, obviously trust is important to you guys. Every time I read something or see something from you guys, the word trust is in the conversation. And I'm like, great. It's working. That's our plan. Just because there's so much marketing effort and business relationships that happen that are not trust filled or trustworthy. And anyways, we
were also like tired of hearing clients come to us saying like, I'm really hesitant to work with you guys because you're a marketing agency and I had a bad experience. I just can't trust them anymore. And so finding out in those early days, like, we actually had to clean up after a lot of poor experiences that people have had with agencies. And we were determined from the get-go, like, we don't want to be that. We don't want to leave that impression with any of our clients. And we are not that way as people either. As Enneagram 8, trust is a core value to you. And just, you're like, you're going to work with people you trust. As a 6, if I can't trust you, I'll trust you until I can't. And then once I don't,
it's done.
It's done. We're cut. As a Christian, I'm obviously born again and can give grace and second chances, but I'm still a 6 too. So to like to a T. Absolutely. Trust is very important to us. And Donald does mention, it's like that movie, The Field of Dreams. Business leaders think if you build it, they will come. People will come because you tell them to come.
That's correct.
And that's your marketing. And if you're not telling them to come, that field of dreams is going to be populated by ghosts, literally.
Right. Literally by ghosts. No, you're right. And it is, I think I'm straying a little bit away from the topic about summer marketing or whatnot, but like back to trust, like your team is not going to want to, if you own if you have a marketing team or machine, and at the moment of a little bit of anxiety, you reduce the team's numbers or resources or backing, you've cratered the trust within your team too. And so your own internal team is going to be lacking fuel to drive the 2 jets of sales and marketing. And so it's tricky. And it is, you and I have to navigate those conversations, financial conversations as business owners ourselves, but I don't know, just going into summertime, I just think like don't reduce the trust into the 2 jets that are propelling and helping your organization or company grow. Give it more trust, give it more gas, more jet fuel, throw gas on it, see what happens.
I remember last year we picked up a client in the summertime, like midsummer, I would say. And they put more gas on their marketing, on the fire. And they were actually kind of in a triage position. So we helped get them out of that. But also they just were like, we're going to double down on it now. And what started out as not a great fiscal year ended up being their best. They ended the whole year with their best sales efforts of the history of their company. And it really, they could tell you it's because we doubled down on our marketing in the summer, refined some things, got a new strategy, found a better direction to go in, and we're able to implement that and execute that going into the fall. And for this industry, sales were not typically high for them in the fall. Nobody's looking for their service really coming into Christmas season. And they saw some of the highest months then, even in August. So it was just really great to see. And gosh, it makes me so sad when clients come to us and they're like, well, we're not going to meet our goals. And I'm like, you have 6 months left of the year. Let's go. Let's double down and do this. Like, you're not going to meet your goals with that attitude, right?
That's correct. And I mean, I'll say it. We did a phone call with someone this week that talked about they're not going to have a good year. And we're like, to your point, we like, you and I were like,
says who?
on our calendar, it's like, we got 6 months. Like, we can turn this around. Like, let's go. And it's because trust. Right? He doesn't trust his team, process, product. So he's pulling the fuel back. That's funding fueling the engines. And so, gosh, it's just, Donald's example is just a really good analogy, because like every time you just keep seeing it, like even on that phone call where they're at 6 months in calling it, it's going to be we're not going to hit our goal this year. And I'm like,
if that Top Gun music wasn't copywritten, I would like have it playing behind us right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, even with the client last year, we were like, we know it's your business.
Yeah.
But we don't think you're right. Like, maybe it's optimism, but it was just, we know that we can turn this around for you.
Well, creativity always has a problem to solve. So
absolutely.
What's your problem? We're going to help you figure out how to solve that, how to meet your bottom lines. And unless something seriously bad happens, like within the economy that's beyond our control, we are going to do our darn best to help you reach those goals. And so we just want to encourage you out there. If you're thinking about pulling back on pulling the gas back on your marketing efforts this summer, or even for the next half of the year. We still have half the year ahead of us, guys. The glass is half full. We encourage you to have a phone call with us. We would love to talk with you and speak with you about the challenges you're facing and how we can work with you to meet your goals and overcome them and just thrive in this second part of 2022, because it ain't over until
it's over.
The ball drops and it's 2023.
Absolutely. And I think like everybody needs a cheerleader.
And I mean, I was one in high school. Can you tell?
No shock at all. So let's go. But it's call us. Like sometimes it's just good to have someone to talk to that understands the problem, understands the struggle, who is being asked to do something that there's no bandwidth and no time for. And Haley and I are here for you, even as friends, like as your friend. We're happy to coach you through it. We're happy to put our resources behind you or to help fight to get you more resources. I think that's one of the things I enjoy doing the most with a lot of our prospective clients and new clients is let me go tell your boss you need 20% more. It doesn't hurt my feelings. And if they say no, we'll ask again 2 days later. So anyways, we got 6 months. If you're already thinking you're going to have a down or a bad year, call us. We'll be honest with you. We can't fix everything, but I think we can fix most things. So we'll be real honest with you about whether or not we can. Pretty sure we can. So
love that confidence. That's what you want in a team that you're going to double down with, is the confidence to know, hey, we can help you, but we will tell you if we can't. That's
right.
But we will do everything to try to. So much happiness on Happy Hour today with our coffee. Cheers to another great episode of Happy Hour, and keep that fuel pumping, the jet of marketing and sales in your business, and let's all soar together. We will talk to you next time on Happy Hour.